Blog Talk Radio.
Recruiting Animal here on September 5, 2018. You know, last week I posted a picture on my Facebook group. It was of Chrystia Freeland. She's Canada's Minister of Foreign Affairs, and she was on her way to the NAFTA negotiations in Washington. That's the North American Free Trade Agreement, okay? So she was wearing a dress in this picture that to me seemed surprisingly revealing. So I asked everybody, I said, is this, on my Facebook group, is this dress too tight for an interview? I thought it was a fair question, and it got a lot of comments, but they weren't all very nice. Lots of people accused me of being shallow. They seemed to believe that if I was in a hiring role, I would not consider the candidate's accomplishments, only her dress. And lots of people said there was no justification at all for discussing this kind of thing. And you know what? That surprised me, because there's a lot of dress for success advice online, you know, for people who are going to interviews. And in fact, I checked, Monster has an article about grooming tips from recruiters. You know, but according to the members of my group, oh, that's passé. No, it's not right. And at least one woman actually quit the group, but not before she told me the posting was misogynist and bordered on sexual harassment. Now, why am I telling you this? Because I think it's an indication of how irrational people can be. I never said how I would assess someone as a candidate who wore a dress that was a little on the tight side. I don't care, okay? But people assumed that I would be totally biased against her. They also seem to deny that they had any cares at all about how a candidate dresses. And they seem to be saying that they would never, ever offer any advice on that topic, which I don't believe is true. And when I asked them about this, they didn't reply, or they tried to dodge the question. And when I persisted, they said, oh, you're like a dog with a bone, okay? You know, I guess that's why some people don't want to be guests on this show, because if you try to dodge a question here, we'll go after you on Jerry.
The Recruiting Animal Show!
Thank you, Jerry. What a dumb bunny he is. He's always telling me, you know, that I'm complaining for no reason when I think maybe he's not going to show up to do the show. Well, Jerry's not here, okay? Just take note of that, please. He's not here. Yeah, that's right, Maureen. He's not here. How was I supposed to know? I'll roll the tape. The odd time he'll call me and roll the tape.
Would you use the tape for his shout-out?
Yeah, well, I call it a tape, but it's a digital recording, okay? But
okay.
Thank you. You can take Jerry's role today. You're not usually here, but I'm happy to have you. Nick Livingston, I want to thank him. I want to thank all my sponsors. Nick of Honeit, Honeit, the online interview technology. Nin Tran of Hired Tool, the super-duper sourcing tool. And Marty Snyder, the boss at PC Recruiter, the Swiss Army knife of recruiting software. To start off, I want to quote, don't make noise in the background, okay? Don't make me angry at the start of the show. I want to start off by quoting my guest today. He says, a good sourcer knows that just because you're not allowed to access a page doesn't mean that you can't get in, right? I love that. And with those words, I'd like to welcome Uncle Dean Costa back to the Recruiting Animals Show. Welcome back, Dean.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Uncle Dean
okay,
Costa. That sounds.
Yeah.
I always say Steve Levy's Uncle Steve, so I'm not sure I can be Uncle Dean.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
I will just say something mean about Steve Levy. So let's avoid.
Okay.
He's not an uncle. He's like cousin Steve, okay? He's like cousin.
Okay.
He's a brat. Steve is a brat. You're not a brat. You're very avuncular. So you're Uncle Dean. Okay? But if anyone wants to criticize Dean or praise him during the show, on Twitter, he's Dean, DEAN, DACOSTA. Dean da Costa. Okay? Kind of like... so anyway, what's the name of that big store with the Costco? Dean DeCostco. Okay, Dean. Okay,
Alrighty.
Dean wrote a book. Dean wrote a book. That's why he said, I want to come back on your show to plug my book. Now's your time, Dean. You talk as much as you want. Tell us whatever you want to tell us about the book, but start with the title.
So, the title is The Book of Recruiting, DeCosta Style. The title was actually picked by my editor, Derek Zeller. It's a short book. It's about 150 pages, and the whole idea behind the book was this. When I got my first job in recruiting out of the military, I pretty much was thrown to a computer and said, start recruiting. Got no training. I barely knew what recruiting was, to be honest with you. And it kind of sucked. But, my military background, it's not the first time I've been thrown to the wolves, so to speak. And I learned in the military the things I need to do to be successful, so I was able to. But I know a lot of others out there who have been put in that situation but haven't been able to be successful. So I wanted to write something that at least...
Get to the point! Okay? Go ahead.
I wanted to write something that would at least give them a good start, a good chance. And so that's how this book came about. That's really about it.
Okay, so no, you're writing it for veterans who want to become recruiters? Is that what you're saying, or just new recruiters?
No, anybody who wants to be a recruiter or who is a recruiter, but pretty much all they do is database recruiting, and they need to learn Boolean, and they need to learn X-raying, and they need to learn where to look for things and processes and procedures that can make them more successful. Some of the things in here are things I came up with, processes, procedures I came up with that allowed me, to set some records at different companies I was at for hiring. So, you're a Superman, and you don't hesitate to say so. I agree with you. Okay, everybody loves you, Dean. Okay, now the thing is, you didn't mention this book is really cheap. It's amazingly cheap. If you go on Amazon, you can get it for $3 in Kindle. I think it's $12 hard copy. To my surprise, there's a lot of backwards recruiters who wanted the hard copy. You were smart to make it in hard copy. I would never have done so myself. Something else Dean does in the book, he links to a lot of his articles online. So even though it's 150 pages, that's kind of expanded by all of the stuff he links to while he's talking about it. How am I going to do something? He doesn't describe it in the book. He says, here's my article. Go there and read it. Am I right, Dean? Yeah, pretty much. There are a lot of links to a lot of articles, a lot of stuff that you can get at, and that will link to other information. If you told it all up, it's probably about 300 pages if you did everything.
There you go.
The other thing that's really big in the book...
I am selling your book better than you are. I always tell people I do a great job of selling their stuff on this show. Yeah. Now,
one thing to keep in mind in the book, this is big, though. Yeah. This is really big, is in the very back, the last 2 pages of the book, is my list of the top tools out there that can help you in different categories. And it's not available on my website or anywhere else. It's only available in the book.
Okay. So what do you see in other books that you think is missing sometimes that people might find in your book?
For one, I think the biggest thing is just length. A lot of the other books out there are 300 plus pages, and I'll be honest with you, I start reading them. It takes me, because I don't have time to sit down for hours to read a book. It's usually in groups, so it might take me a whole month to get through a 300-page book, and by the time I'm done, I've already don't remember what I read to begin with because it's a month ago. And so that's one of the reasons why I made it short and direct. And I think the biggest thing is, most of the other books concentrate on here's how to X-ray, here's how to Boolean, here's how to do this, here's how to do that, and they don't give you a lot of process behind it. They don't tell you now when you're sourcing, here's where sourcing fits, and here's what you do. Here's where scraping fits. Here's what you do. They just lay out a whole lot of information, but they don't give you a process behind it.
Yeah, I don't understand. I don't understand what you just said. If someone tells me how to X-ray, that's what I want. What do you mean a process?
But when?
What do you mean by that?
But when do you X-ray? When do you need to use X-ray?
Isn't it obvious? Okay, well, let's talk about that now. Let's talk about it now. When do you X-ray? And what does X-ray mean? What is X-ray?
Okay,
go ahead.
So X-raying is a process whereby you get information out of a site in a way other than the way it was meant. As an example, picking on LinkedIn, you can go into LinkedIn, do what you got to do, realizing that no matter what version of LinkedIn you got, the best you can do is see 80% of the people in there. That's it. No matter what version you got, you're never going to see everybody. You can X-ray it.
Why?
Because that's the way LinkedIn has it. That's the way LinkedIn's algorithms and the way they have it set up. You can only see so many people, and you can only view so many people, and that's just the way they have it set up. And it's why you'll have to ask LinkedIn. I just know that's the way it is. I know people at LinkedIn, they said, you're never going to see more than 80%. You can only view so many people in a given period of time, or we get mad at you and you go to LinkedIn jail. There's a whole bunch of stuff. But, again, you have to have a LinkedIn account, whether it's paid or free, either way. But if you X-ray in, you can see everybody. It doesn't matter.
X-ray means,
and
what does X-ray
you don't need a
mean?
LinkedIn
There's people
account.
listening who don't know. The X-ray means,
I said
what is that?
X-ray means targeting a specific site and getting information from the site in a way other than the way it was intended.
How do they do that? Come on. Okay, how do they do that?
That's what I'm getting to. So to do that, you have to use a command called a site command. So you do site : so you just SITE : LinkedIn.com/in. That's what you do. After that, you type what you want. Java developer in quotes, Seattle, gmail.com in quotes. That will pull up a bunch of people who are in Seattle, who have the title, who have the words Java developer together somewhere in their profile, usually means they're a Java developer, and have a Gmail email address in their profile. And you'd be surprised how many there are. I think in Seattle there's something like 9,000, if I remember correctly. And that can all be done without having a LinkedIn account. And that's how X-raying works.
Okay, but when you're doing that in Google and it shows you the results, you can't see the whole profile. I think you told me before that's not an issue. Am I right about that?
No, it's not an issue for a number of reasons. Number one, what you do see is their name. You see where they're located. You see their company and their title. What more do you really need? If you're looking for Java developers, and they're all saying they're Java developers, what more do you really need? Anything beyond that, truth be told, you're going to have to talk to them to know more. Because let's remember that there are supposedly 500 million people in LinkedIn, but 25% of them are fake. Another 25% have more than one profile. I know a guy that has 10 profiles. Another 25% don't have enough information to know jack other than they're a Java developer. So what are you really gaining there? Truth be told, you're not gaining a whole heck of a lot, not to mention that there are so many tools out there that if you get those pieces of information along with their public LinkedIn profile, you could stick it in any one of a number of tools, HRIS to be one of them, which is one of your sponsors, and they'll take care of enhancing and giving you the rest of the info. So
I have a question, Animal.
Go ahead, Kathy's corner.
I adore Dean. I think he's a plethora of information, and anybody who doesn't listen to him is really losing out. But, Dean, what I was wondering is there a way of X-raying LinkedIn and getting those people's connections or people similar to them?
Okay, so getting their connections is not through X-ray. You can't do it through X-raying, but there are ways to do it, very complicated ways, so I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on the radio explaining it. There are ways to do it, but for that you'd have to actually get into LinkedIn.
Okay.
But it can be done. There are actually tools that can help you do that. But you could do it with a free account. You don't need to have a paid account. And that's what I guess I'm getting at here is what little bit you need to do in LinkedIn can be done via free account. But to get their connections, you would need to actually have access to LinkedIn to get that. But once you do it, it's a piece of cake. You can actually get in, see their connections. You could scrape that information, stick it into HRIS, Seek Out, or a number of tools. They'll enhance it for you, and you're ready to rock and roll. And it sounds like a lot, but I can do that and get 1,000 people, and my hands-on time is under 5 minutes.
I'm going to hold on a second. Scraping, I'm going to guarantee, well, this is just a guess, but I'm pretty confident about it, 99% of recruiters don't know how to scrape and will never learn. Am I right about that?
I would say it's not 99, but it's up there in the high 90s, probably around 97. And the reason why I say that is because there are several Facebook groups about scraping, and there are a lot of people on them, number one. Number two, I've spoken about it, and I'm shameless plug. The SourceCon's coming up in fall, and that's what I'm talking about. I'm going to teach people how to scrape.
Where is it?
There are going to be a lot of people that are going to learn really quick.
Go ahead, give a plug for SourceCon. Go ahead. Where is it? Atlanta, right?
SourceCon, which is the largest and what I consider to be the best sourcing conference out there is coming up in the end of September. And I'm going to be in the programming/automation track, and I'm going to be teaching people how to scrape websites, which is basically saying take information out of a website and put it into an organized format. I'm going to teach it using a tool called Data Miner, but I'm going to talk about other tools. But most importantly, I'm not just going to teach you how to do Data Miner. I'm going to teach you how to identify the code that identifies the specific piece of data that you want to grab. So this way, if you have to use a different scraping tool that's not as automated as Data Miner, you'll still be.
Hi there, I'm Peter Zollman. I'm a co-host of the Inside Job Boards and Recruitment Marketplaces podcast.
And I'm Stephen Rothberg, and I guess that makes me the other co-host.
Every other week, we're joined by guests from the world's leading job sites.
Together, we analyze news about general, niche, and aggregator job board and recruitment marketplaces sites.
Make sure you sign up and subscribe today.
I lost you.
More and more recruiters need to learn how to at least the basics of coding, not be programmers, be someone who can program. The difference being
you lost me already. I don't know what you're talking about anymore. Maureen,
right.
Since we're plugging.
Maureen probably knows
what.
I would be willing to bet Maureen knows what I'm talking about.
No, she hasn't got a clue. She's still on the show, Maureen?
Yes,
still
I'm here. I'm here.
Okay.
Yes.
Since Dean plugged his appearance at SourceCon, do you want to plug your own appearance at another sourcing conference?
At SOSU in Canada on October 31st and 30th. Sure, in Toronto.
You're going to be speaking, right?
I'll be speaking. Shally will be there. There will be several high-profile speakers.
Okay.
So, but
I wish
let's
I
not
could
take it away from
I wanted to give Maureen a break, okay? So there we go.
But
okay, sorry to interrupt you.
That's a conference I've been wanting to try to get to one year. And 1 year I'll get there. I just haven't had time.
Okay. Yeah, your old friends will stab you in the back. They won't like that, I'm pretty sure. And I won't stab you back in a bad
okay,
way.
Then
I'm sure Phil would be delighted.
You can only have one girlfriend, Dean, okay? There you go. Okay.
Very true.
So, okay.
Oh, very true.
Yeah.
Unless you're a cheater, but that's another story.
Yeah. Okay. Here's unless you're Shally, he goes to all these things. But anyway, Dean. Just before we move on, I want to make an announcement as well. Michael G. Cox says he's pulled out his pen and paper. He wants to learn things. Well, if you want to learn something, you better speak up and ask questions, because I guarantee I'm not going to ask the questions you want me to, okay? Same with anybody else on the line.
If I may, Michael, for those of you that want to learn something, want to learn about new tools or process procedure, whatever, I am doing a webinar tomorrow for recruiting tools. I'm doing another webinar on Monday for SourceCon. So just find them and join up, and you'll learn everything you want.
How do they find them? These people don't even know how to find them. Go ahead.
Go on Facebook. All they got to do for the SourceCon one, go on Facebook SourceCon group. It's listed right there at the top. For the recruiting tools one, go to recruitingtools.com, and it'll be right there.
Okay. Somebody asked a question. Somebody asked a question. Somebody's listening to my. I can hear my echo. I think anyway. Okay, look, here we go. Off of the technical stuff. You lost me already with the scraping, but I posted before the show your personal code on my Facebook group, and lots of people liked it. I was wondering if you might want to talk about that a bit here, about how a sourcer or a recruiter should live.
My personal code on your page. I didn't even know you did that.
Yeah.
I learn something new every day. See, this is the problem. You guys are 3 hours ahead, so I don't see everything you do until after the fact.
I link to your name. Don't make me curse, okay? I link to your name.
Why? I'm likely to do it. Okay, I see what you did. You just linked to my Facebook page. So, I have several things I go by in the recruiting world. For me anyway. Number one, I believe that I highly recommend any recruiter, sourcer, researcher, whatever other title you may have, take a project management course. Project management, when you're dealing with a lot of recs and a lot of positions, having that skill, having that capability really can come in handy. That's how I stay on top of things. When I worked at Microsoft, I had over 100 recs. I had like 6 groups I was managing, and the only reason why I was able to do it and hire over 100 people in a year, which is a record at Microsoft, is because of that project management. I learned project management skills and allowed me to put everything in a nice place to keep it organized. I had a plan on when I source, when I call, when I do this, and that's how you can keep track of all that. And it's really tough for recruiters because they've got to not only recruit, not only source, not only interview, not only deal with all the BS administration and administrivia that goes with it, but they got to deal with hiring managers who at best tolerate us and at worst hate our guts and reality think we're the devil incarnate. That's just the facts. Most hiring managers are just don't have any. They think our job is to make it harder on them to hire, not easier.
They are stupid. Let's just put it out there, okay? They are dumb.
Well, I have other words for them that are worse than stupid and dumb, but I think hiring managers are without a doubt the biggest impediment to hiring. And that's being nice because, one, they don't know what they're looking for. Two, they want things that don't make any sense and they don't really need. They want to pay nothing. And then that's the legal stuff. The illegal stuff is, I only want somebody from Harvard. I only want somebody from Malaysia. I only want a woman. I only want them. I mean, good Lord, half that stuff's illegal. You can't say that. You may want it, but you can't say it. And so hiring managers are a pain. And that's just because you're right. They don't understand. Most of them are techies. If you're a tech recruiter, you're dealing with hiring managers who are techies, which means they were probably coders at one time, which means they know zeros and ones, but when it comes to interaction and human interaction and all that stuff, they're a little shaky. I dealt with hiring managers who legitimately could have gotten the company sued and probably shut down and because of things they wanted to say and do. And so hiring managers are a problem, but there's a way around that, and the best way around is, one, to get them to understand what you really do. A lot of hiring managers don't get it. They think you go to the corner and grab the guy saying, we'll work for food, and that's how easy it is. But if you sit down and show it to them, source with them, show them how much trouble it is to go to source, they start saying, okay, wait a minute, this isn't as easy as I thought. And then you go in there with a process. You don't ask them what they want. You tell them this is how we're going to work. We're going to do this, 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 and this. And then you do it, and if you succeed, you've got them. When I worked at Microsoft, I took over a security business unit. They'd never gotten beyond 82% of their total headcount. The goal was always 102, so basically one or two over. I got put on there, and I'm ex-military, and so I'm very used to just taking control. I talked to the director, talked to hiring managers, tried to get an idea what was going on, and then I created a process, and I went in and told them, we're going to do this. They didn't.
Dean,
fought.
Yes. Don't you think that what Shally always emphasized was your intake with the hiring manager at the very beginning and to set expectations right then and there?
And that's kind of what I'm talking about. You're correct. It is about setting those expectations right then and there, which is, like I said, that's kind of what I'm talking about. After I came up with my process, I met with everybody and said, this is what we're going to do. This is what you're going to do. This is what I'm going to do. So I'm setting their expectations. The problem with the big group I was dealing with is they were fighting each other for candidates. And that was one of the biggest issues I had to get over. I'd say you're all looking for the same thing. But some of you are projects are a higher priority than others. Your one project doesn't need to be done for 5 years. It only needs to be done in 6 months. So who do you think should get the person first? I mean, and
okay.
So
now hold on
that.
a second, Dean. There's two things. One about project. First of all, with this laying down the law, I like this. You can just hear it in your voice. But would you wear your military paraphernalia, like your hat and stuff, when you go in there to show them that you mean business? Go ahead.
It's funny you say that. Most of everybody here, everybody on the call that's seen me or seen pictures of me, I always have my veteran hat on. I swear to God, if I didn't wear that hat, nobody would know who I was. And I've actually tested the theory, and I was right. Yes, I wear that hat everywhere. I have to. I have a disability towards light, so it's either that or I have to wear sunglasses all the time. And sunglasses are more rude than a hat. But yes, I wear that hat all the time, and I do go in there. But to be quite frank, I don't need to wear the hat, and you'll know I'm military. You could tell them the way I talk. You could tell them the way I act. You could tell them the way I move. I say affirmative and negative a lot. Yes, I'm very.
You do what a lot?
Yeah, I'm pretty Do I what?
You said something. You do something a lot, and I was talked over.
Well, I'm very. I say negative and I don't say yes and no often. Normally, it's negative or affirmative.
Oh, really? Oh, you talk
I
that
say,
lingo, yeah.
Yeah, I say yes, sir, no, sir. I will use a lot of acronyms, which is normal for a military person. My speech is normally fairly precise. Even as quick as I'm speaking now, it's still fairly precise. There's not a whole lot of ambiguity in
Wait,
that.
I have a question then, because, Animal, I'm sorry, I just have one question.
Oh, look, Kathy,
Dean,
I have
as
to
much
do an
as I
ad.
admire
I
your
got to
work,
do an ad.
Maureen, wait a minute, Maureen.
Kathy, I got to do an ad, okay, please?
Okay.
I got to pay Jerry. I got to pay Jerry even if he doesn't show, okay? It's in the contract.
Okay.
But remind me about Udemy. When we come back, I have to ask about that. Hi, everybody. Recruiting Animal here for Honeit, Honeit. You know what Honeit is? It's the phone interview technology. The candidate and the recruiter dial into the interview just like they would call any ordinary number. No heavy breathing. No heavy breathing during my ad, please, okay? They have their regular interview, only it's recorded. So you have an audio recording immediately, and the audio recording is immediately turned into a typed-out transcript. Fantastic. You can search it. You can copy and paste sections that you want to send off to anybody on the hiring committee. It makes the interview easy to manipulate and easy to work with, right? Not only that, every interview has some questions that are more important than the others. When you get to a question like that, using Honeit, you press a button just when you ask the question. When you're finished discussing it with the candidate, you press another button. Those are isolated as clips. Again, you can pass them to the hiring manager, to anybody on the committee, say, focus on this before you focus on anything else. So you also, here's what Nick Livingston likes to stress, you don't have to worry about typing fast enough. You don't have to worry about missing something. You don't have to worry that you can't write fast. It's all there for you. So please go check it out at Honeit, HONEIT.com. Okay, Kathy, but first me, Kathy. If you want to learn about being a project manager, I got a suspicion there's some pretty cheap courses on Udemy.com. Have you ever checked that out, Dean?
Yes, I actually have. I'm taking several courses on Udemy. I call it Udemy, but I'm taking several right now. As a matter of fact, that's how I learned how to program in Python, was from Udemy.
Okay. Great. Okay. Thanks. Kathy.
There's also several really good books on project management that are out there that you could consider getting as well and have a pretty good shot at learning. There's a little project management handbook that's really cool. You can go on Amazon, just project management handbook. Then there's the Absolute Beginner's Guide to Project Management, which is really cheap, which can give you a pretty good idea. There are a lot of ways you can learn how to be a project manager. You don't necessarily have to take a per se course, but it all depends on what you want to do. I actually decided to because I just thought it would be a good thing to do. So I'm a white belt.
Kathy wants to talk to you again.
I just had a question. You know, when I go to SourceCon or when I have gone to SourceCon, I think that the best thing out of there are those individual training courses, like you're going to be teaching, you know, the smaller groups, the group sessions. But you are so knowledgeable, as are others who do that you talk so quickly that I found that it would go over my head. Are you guys going to dumb it down at all? Because I remember going to one on coding. I was like, forget it. I can't even do this.
Most of the coding ones are really not designed for beginners. See, that's in there lies a big problem with any conference is there's a group there that are very junior, then there's a group there that are very senior.
Right.
I understand what you're saying. For me, when and I've been to every SourceCon. I've spoken at most of them. And when I have time to sit in on others, sometimes I'm bored out of my mind because it is not. It's just so dummied down that it's like, okay, I already know how to X-ray. Okay, great. But you got to understand, there are a lot of people that really don't. And Animal had it right. I'll be honest with you. If I when I was at the last SourceCon, I had about 40 people come up and ask me to teach them how to X-ray, and these are people who have been in the industry for 5 years. You would think they would know how by now, but mine is going to be dummied down. And there's going to be some people not happy about it because they're really advanced and they know a lot of this stuff. But mine's going to be dummied down. I'm not teaching you how to code. I'm just teaching you how to look for it because the code for the data you want is always going to be the same. It's basically the same code. You just find the data, look to the left, and that's the code. It's really simple. I'm going to dummy down. As far as being really quick, for me, I naturally speak quickly. For one. For two, unless I'm talking about a specific one thing, like in this case scraping, I have a lot I have to try to get out. When I speak there, I don't want to teach you how to know 100% ins, outs, lefts, rights of a tool. I want you to know enough to get interested, and then have you go play with it so you can learn how it works for you, where it works for you. Not all tools work for everybody or in all industries. So I just want to give you enough base knowledge to make you get interested enough to go try it out.
Beep, 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 beep. Give us an example of a tool that works in one industry but doesn't work in another.
Basically, I think it's called, I just did a blog about it. It's something DB, just give me a minute. It's got so many.
If you don't know the name, forget it. Forget it. If you don't
it's
know
something
the name.
DB. It's actually a newer tool, but the point is about it. It's only for programming. So if you're looking for something other than program, what good is it to you? So I don't want to teach you every single solitary ins and out, lefts and rights of it. I just want to teach you, hey, this tool's out there. Here's how it works. Here's what you do. Here's how you can get info from it, and move on. And then you decide if it's something you want to play with. If you don't do developers and architects and testers, then fine, don't worry about it. If you do, then check it out.
Yeah, I got the point, Dean. Okay, I want to ask you a question. Since you say even experienced recruiters who may be good on the phone or whatever, or assessing candidates, they're not necessarily good online sourcers, so they need some beginning information. And I'm going to ask you a question that you wrote about that beginners should know. You say that title search sucks, okay? Title search. A lot of sourcers, you say, like to search by the full title that's listed on their job description. That's a mistake. You want to tell us why?
Sure. That's an easy one, actually. Not all titles are not universal. It's that simple. What we might call a software developer, somebody else might call an engineer. What we call a data scientist, someone else might call a program manager. And don't laugh, there are companies in California that call their data scientists program managers. You know why? It's not because they're program managers. It's because they know if they call them program managers that a lot of recruiters won't find them because they want to use titles. Titles are not universal. Things can be called different things in different places. So if you search by title, you'll get some people, don't get me wrong, but you're going to miss out on a lot of people. As an example, if you searched for me and you used the word staffing, recruiter, or sourcing, you won't find me by title, by my current job. None of those are in my title.
How do you merge those two, Dean, between the data scientists and program managers?
What do you mean, in a search?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, you don't even worry about title. First, you worry about what it is they're going to do. So you start with the skills you want. As an example, if it's Hadoop and Pig, which are two big data technologies, first of all, recruiters aren't going to have it. They'll say they search for it, but they won't have it. Number two, most of the people that have those skills are going to either be developers or data-orientated people of some kind. It's very rare that you're going to see people without. I'm not saying it's 100%, but very rare. But then you start getting into things like putting in things like the word data, like the word the size of the amount of data, like a terabyte or 100 terabytes of data, because that's usually something only data scientists will have. You might add SQL in there. You might add a bunch of different technologies and or verbiage that will make it pretty clear you're looking for a data scientist. And you do it that way. And you see your results. If you get 10,000 results still, okay, now there's 10,000 results. Now I'll go ahead and maybe add in a title or a piece of a title. Maybe you put in something like data near Hadoop, which basically means look for the word data within 10 words of the words Hadoop. Well, if you got the word data and Hadoop that close to each other, they're probably a data scientist.
Okay, well, hold on a second. I read in your book. You keep using in your Boolean strings. You keep using the word and, the operator and. I thought that operator doesn't work anymore. It doesn't work anymore on Google, does it?
No, it's not that it doesn't work. It's just you don't need it. But I do it for a reason, so I'll explain to you why. If, like me and a lot of other people who've been around a while, you save your Boolean string. You find a string that works, you save it. That means you got to reuse it. Well, if I want to go ahead and use that string in my ATS system, I need the word and. A lot of ATS systems, if you don't put the word and in there, it doesn't know what you're asking for. So that's part of the problem. You got to remember, there's some tools use old Boolean, Some places use new Boolean, which means you don't need the and. It's implied that it's an and. So the question you have is this. If you use the and in Google, it just ignores it, and it's an and. It's no big deal, so there's no problem. But if you don't use it in certain other systems, you don't get it. The search won't work right. So why not just have it? What are you really killing yourself? This way I can just cut and paste my strings from anywhere.
Yeah, I got it. Now let's say I noticed that if you're listing in your Boolean strings a whole bunch of different job titles, you'll put them in parentheses and then say programmer or software engineer or principal or something else. Like why do you have to put those in parentheses? Why can't they just operate independently?
Okay, so a couple of things. Number one, single word, fine. If there's two words in the title, you've got to put it in quotes so it keeps them together. Otherwise, okay. Or means this or that, and you can use or you can use the straight up and down line, which is right below the backspace, so you don't have to write or. But besides all that, the reason why you have to do it in quotes is because of the way the search works. If you don't put it in quotes, what happens is they think
not quotes. I'm asking about
parentheses. Brackets.
Yeah. Okay, brackets.
You have to put it in brackets because of the way Boolean works. Think of it as like algebra or anything like that. So ORs have to be in the brackets because if it's not in the brackets, the Boolean doesn't read it correctly. So you're saying, as an example, Java and software or software engineer in quotes or developer or development or whatever. And you put that in quotes. So what happens is the quotes are read first and then the regular words read. Even though you always put the ORs last. And the reason is because Boolean won't read it properly if you don't. It's just like in scientific notation, not scientific notation, or in algebra. If you put 3x and then in parentheses 2x, 4, so you're saying 2 times 4 times 3.
Yeah, okay, we get it.
If you don't do that right, what happens is you get 2 times 3 times 4.
Yeah, okay, yeah. If you're not good at math,
there's a reason for it. It's the way it reads and the way it functions.
Wait, did you say that the word or always has to be in parentheses?
The Use Case Podcast is where technology vendors get to talk about themselves. And it's a wonderful place for vendors, investors, and practitioners to listen to the story of the solution, the features, the benefits, the attributes, etc. And we get to know the CEO or founder during the call, and we also get to know the tech. So subscribe to the Use Case Podcast.
I didn't say
the
that.
OR operator. Anytime you're doing an OR operator function in Boolean, it has to be in parentheses, unless that's all you're doing. Unless that's all you're doing.
It worked, but I guess not.
Say that again, please.
You just capitalized it.
Capitalized OR, yes. Yeah. Or just use the pipe, which is that straight up and down line below the backspace.
Yeah. Okay. Dean, are you on the board still of Hire Tool or the advisory committee of Hire Tool?
I'm an advisor of a lot of tools, but yes.
Okay. Oh, you want to do the ad? I'm going to do the ad, but since you're here,
that's your. I'm not getting paid to do the ad. You do the ad.
You're on the committee. You know more than me. Okay. Well, okay. I just always tell the basics. Everybody.
No, that's your job.
Okay. But you endorse Hire Tool, right? You're on the committee or the advisory.
I think Hire Tool is one of my top tools, and Hire Tool is one of my what I call my grade 8. I have a series of 8 tools that if that's it, I don't need anything else. I'm happy. I don't need anything else, and they are.
So if you were on a desert island, you need those 8. Those are the 8 tools you would take with you, right?
Well, no. If I'm on a desert island, I'm going to take a boat so I can get the hell off.
Yeah.
But when it comes to sourcing, if you tell me I can only pick any 8 tools you want for sourcing, those are the 8 tools I'm picking.
Well, what 8? We know 1. What are the other 7?
The other 7 are not sponsors yet.
I don't know who said that, but you're right. They're not sponsored of the Animal Show, therefore I won't mention them.
No, you can tell, if you want it. If you feel free. I mean, you're free to tell us. I mean, we all know.
So when
I
talk about tools, I look at the sourcing life cycle. So you have research, sourcing, scraping, downloading, whatever word you want to use there, enhancement, and then the outreach. That's the way I break it down. So
research and sourcing are two different things for you.
Yes, because when I'm talking about research, I'm not talking about research as in finding stuff. I'm talking about the research required to ensure you are creating the correct persona to identify what you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
So just because not all
it.
job developers are the same. So you want to make sure you got all the info to make sure you're looking for the right kind of job developer that can succeed in your environment. Not all people can work at Google. Not all people can work at Microsoft. You got to make sure you pick the right one. So you do that by looking historically within the company, what is the background and makeup of Java developers who've been hired that have been successful here. Then once you get that data, you want to research outside to make sure salaries are correct, locations correct. Maybe Java developers are mostly in a different area. Just you want to make sure that all that information is correct. And by doing that, it'll also create a sourcing plan for you to tell you where to source.
Yeah. Hey, there's a rule on this show, Dean. You can't be verbose, okay? Once you tell us, research, you're going to define your target, Maureen, then you do the
sourcing,
okay?
So what you're saying, Dean, is picking your targets correctly is just as important, if not more important. I think it's more important than the actual sourcing from those targets.
I would agree with you, because if you don't pick your target correctly, you might be sourcing with Java developers on a site that has nothing but people who knit, and that ain't going to get you nowhere.
Yeah.
Okay, let me do the ad for Hire Tool since we got derailed. Hey, everybody, Hire Tool, HIRETUAL. It is the super-duper sourcing tool. You just heard Dean, Uncle Dean, the greatest, not the greatest, one of the greatest sources, sorry, Dean, one of the greatest sourcers ever in history. He just endorsed Hire Tool. What is it? You go to HireTool.com. You put in your search terms in regular, everyday English, and it builds a Boolean string for you. And it searches a wide range of websites, GitHub, Facebook, LinkedIn, you name it, and it gives you a whole bunch of results ranked from top to bottom, who's closest to matching your requirements. It guesses what these people are earning. It guesses which ones are going to be most ready to leave. And the thing Hire Tool is most famous for, I would say, is its ability to give you contact information, both personal and professional, emails and phone numbers. You can check that out for free by going to HireTool.com, getting their free Chrome extension, and go to work. Thank you. Back to Dean DaCosta. Pardon me?
Boy, did you miss out on a whole lot more of what it can do than just that.
Well, tell me. What can it do? Go ahead.
Well, let's play a game. What if you searched on Facebook and found a whole bunch of developers who worked at Amazon and you wanted to get more info on them? The reality is if they're a developer at Amazon, the odds are pretty good they're Java, because Amazon's a Java shop. What do? You know what you do? You get the URLs, stick them into HireTool, and HireTool will enhance and get you their name, location, emails, phone numbers, everything else you need, all from one simple Facebook URL.
There you go, everybody. I didn't know that.
It's an enhancement. It's an enhancing tool as well. It's not just a searching tool. It's an enhancement tool.
What does that mean, what you just said?
That means it can take minimum information and provide a lot more about somebody.
Okay.
It enhances.
So what version of Hire Tool do you have to
Is that with 100%
that?
accuracy, or is it that kind of guesstimating?
Okay. Nothing is 100. No, by nature, nothing is 100%.
I understand, but you need a disclaimer there.
Humans create it. Humans make mistakes and are not 100%. Therefore, the tool can't be 100%. But it's pretty damn close. I find for me, when it comes to enhancement, between Hire Tool, Seek Out, and Zap Info, I get pretty close to 100% of everything I want between those three tools.
Okay, that's
so
good
what
information.
I do, I stick it into one tool, let it do its thing. Whatever it doesn't find, I stick into another tool, let it do its thing. Whatever it doesn't find, I stick in the third tool, let it do its thing. By the time I'm done, out of 1,000 people, I'll probably have complete profiles and emails on 995 of them.
So you're refining.
Yeah, but he said he doesn't have time to read a book, but he's got time to do this stuff. He goes through the same information 100 times to whittle
how long
it down.
does that take, Dean? Tell him.
How long would what take to do 1,000 people?
What you just described.
Hands-on time, about 5 minutes.
Okay, yeah.
Wow.
Doesn't sound like it to me. Well, you know what? Maybe
No,
I'm a
because-
dummy,
well,
and I
that's
know I
because-
can't do it.
That's because you don't understand how the process works. Simple. You use HRIS to search in Facebook. You use Zap Info to scrape the info. That's a push the button, let it do its job. Once it's done, you download, upload to HRIS. That takes a minute. Once HRIS is done, you download, upload to Seekout. That takes a minute. Once that's done, you're done. So your hands-on time is 5 minutes. The tools do all the rest of the work.
Is any of this in your book, your famous book
Yes,
that's on
it is.
Amazon?
Yes,
Okay.
it is.
Great. Okay, you said on your blog, you said, I was listening to the way a recruiter was talking to a prospective candidate. That should be prospective, okay? But he was talking to a candidate.
Sorry, but English is not my first language, so sometimes I get a little mixed up.
You sound
What
like
is your
it
first
is, okay?
language? What is your first
Pardon
language?
me? Portuguese.
Really?
Portuguese.
Yeah, Michael knew that.
You wouldn't know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have known that.
I wouldn't have
Get me
known
drunk
either,
and you will.
okay? But,
Get me drunk and
anyway.
you'll know.
Okay, so anyway, Dean says he was listening to this recruiter talk to a candidate for the very first time. He says that recruiter was quick, cold, callous, uncaring, and basically acted like the candidate was wasting his time, right? And in fact, this candidate was perfect for the position. He said, recruiters are generally not that bad. They're polite, but they really have no zest. There's no life in their conversation and no sense of caring. He says they're politically correct, but they're robotic. They have no heart. You believe that's the general way recruiters are. They're burnt out and, nobodies. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and I'm not saying all recruiters, but I'm saying a lot of recruiters are. A lot of recruiters are robotic and think transactional. And what I mean by that is they still think we're in the day when there are more people than jobs they can treat people, and they don't have to worry about it. And we're not. We're in a day where there are more jobs than people, and you need to treat people with respect. It's like those little rules that you put on there for me, treat people the way you would want to be treated. Would you want to be treated like a piece of meat? No. So why treat people like a piece of meat? It all goes around, comes down. This is a very close community, everything we're dealing with. So if you're talking to a job developer who works at Amazon, you treat them like crap, within a week, every job developer there is going to know you talked to them and treated them like crap, and they're not going to want to talk to you.
Really? Do people say, hey, I was talking to a recruiter, or do they keep it secret? Okay? How does that stuff get out?
If they treat them, if it gets out because people talk. It's just that simple. I mean, I know job developers in many companies, and I talk to them sometimes just to talk to them because I'm trying to learn myself or increase my skills. And they'll say, hey, this guy, Dean Costa, called me, and, he's a recruiter, but he wasn't talking to recruit me. We were just talking. Really nice guy. I like him. If he ever calls you, you should talk to him. That's all it takes. But if he says, this guy, Dean Costa, called me, he was a complete jerk, and he treated me like I was a piece of meat and like I was a dog, don't ever talk to him. People are going to,
and you're saying,
it's a small
and you're
world
saying that
all.
You're saying that it sounds like you're saying that a majority of recruiters fall into the bad category.
I
think
that
a
majority of recruiters need to improve on their bedside manner. And I don't think it's necessary that they mean, I'm giving the benefit of the doubt that that's not the way they really are or they mean. I think it's more a product of they are so freaking busy that they just got to get through it, get on, and move on, and as a result, that's the way they come across. Especially newer recruiters. The newer recruiters, one, don't really know how to source very well. Most of them are database recruiters, which means if it isn't in their ATS or Munster or LinkedIn, they don't know what to do. But more importantly, they really know how to speak to people. And it's really important you learn how to speak to people, how to motivate people, because the old saying that you can get more from honey than from vinegar is very apropos. Treat me well, and I'm going to go out of my way for you. Treat me like a piece of meat, like a piece of crap, and I'm going to forget about it.
I read tons of stuff about you, or that you wrote. So you give advice that I don't agree with, by the way. You say the way to communicate with people best is to mimic the way they talk. I've read all that mirroring stuff before. I think it's total baloney. But you say mimic their rate of speech, mimic their style of speech. If they talk slower than they do, you slow down, okay? If it's faster, you speed up. Get a feel for their thought style. Are they all about facts or are they touchy-feely? Once you figure it out, you'll be able to talk to them properly. Do you believe that?
Yeah, I do. Because when it boils down to it, it's not just about purely communicating. It's also about making them feel more comfortable. I was stationed in Alabama. They talk really slow. And when someone can explain to me how far and in what direction yonder and spell are, let me know, because I still haven't figured that one out. But they speak slower, and different. And I noticed in talking to them, this was back when I was in the military, that I spoke fast, and they were very uncomfortable. You could tell they were uncomfortable with how fast I spoke. But when I started slowing it down, and it's not that they're dumb or stupid, or it's not about that. It's just about the way they talk. All of a sudden, it was a lot better. People were a lot more forthcoming, a lot more willing to talk, a lot more willing to spend time. And so right there, I learned that, it's about making the other person feel comfortable. And sometimes when you talk too fast, it makes them feel uncomfortable. You talk too slow, it makes people feel uncomfortable.
Maureen, is Maureen there? Do you get the feeling that he's trying to, mirror me, my style? I don't. He's Dean. He's Dean, and he wants to be Dean. He doesn't want to be the recruiting animal.
Point of note.
Hold on a second. Wait a second.
Point of note. Your animal, I see no reason to mimic you one bit.
Exactly. He doesn't have a reason to mimic you.
Okay.
There's a difference. You're not a candidate.
Before the show's over, I got Maureen here. I got Dean here. I have to pit you against each other before I do another ad, okay? Yes, I do.
I doubt that.
Maureen, do you believe...
Hey, Maureen, how long have we known each other? Maureen, how long have we known each other?
Long time.
Yeah, I was going to say, and he's going to pit us against each other?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I'll ask you both the same question. Dean and Maureen. Dean first. Do you believe that everybody you're looking for is online and findable?
No.
Okay.
I know for a fact not everybody is online and findable.
Okay, what percentage of people are online and findable?
We need to define findable by the average recruiter, by someone more advanced, by
you.
By a cybersecurity
You're super recruiter.
By me.
Super sourcer.
By
I build
me?
you as a super sourcer. Yeah, by you.
I would say probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 65 to 75%.
That's all? That's all?
Well, but you got to understand something. Out of that group that's not online and findable, a bunch of them aren't people I would want to find. I mean, nothing personal. I really don't want to talk to the camel jockey in Egypt. I'm just saying.
Okay, well,
you just got to look at
what I was talking about, Maureen. You see how he changes the terms. The obvious terms are the kind of people that you will be looking for.
Go ahead.
You
didn't specify.
Maureen, go ahead. Give her a chance.
You're going to ask a broad question. Specify.
I have a question for Dean. Has that percentage for you, Dean, changed over the last 10 years?
Maureen, can you hold on to that and let me do my final ad? Remember, I got to pay Jerry even if he's not here. Giving me a hard time.
Yeah, I know. I've already been hit up by Nin about something I said.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Well, he could have spoken up. The lines are all open. Anyway, look. Hey, everybody. Recruiting Animal here for PC Recruiter. Recruiters are very diverse. There's all kinds of recruiters. There's recruiters who are headhunters. There's recruiters like Dean who are working for a corporation. They're direct hire. There's recruiters who are doing temp staffing. You got to ask yourself, does every kind of recruiter need their own special kind of recruiting software? Well, I'm going to tell you the answer that PC Recruiter gives. It's no. It's no. They don't all have to have a rainbow of different recruiting softwares. And you know why? Because PC Recruiter is adaptable. It's one software, but you make it suit yourself. You make it suit your own needs. It's configurable. That's the term I like to use. It's configurable. And if you're too afraid of configuring it yourself, they got a lot of nice people there who will help you do it. And they don't care if you're a kitchen table recruiter, as Joe Mulling says, working by yourself at home, or if you're in a big recruiting team. You just heard Dean talk about the kind of size of the number of people he was working with at Microsoft. Either way, they're happy to talk to you because big or small, they help them all. So go check them out, please, at pcrecruiter.net. Maureen, over to you.
Over to me what?
You got a question for Dean, you said.
Yeah, I asked him if it had changed. That percentage had changed in the last 10 years.
Okay.
He said yes.
Dean, answer her question. Go ahead.
Yes, the percentage has gone up in the last 10 years. As more countries get online, as there's more technology around, as third world countries become what I call third world A countries, meaning more technologically advanced and stuff like that, that number has increased. You got to remember, there's 7.5 billion people on this planet, and I'm looking right at the number, so I know that's right.
Yeah, but we're not interested in recruiting them. There's kids and grandparents. We don't want them. Those are dumb numbers.
Exactly. If we're now talking about only people that we would be interested in recruiting, that number jumps up significantly, obviously.
What number is that, Dean, do you think?
Don't you think some of the top secret people are not online?
There are a lot of top secret people that are not online, and or if they are, they don't let you know that they have.
Right.
They don't let you know they have the clearance, and or they don't give you enough information to even figure out they have it.
Right.
For various reasons. Number one, they really don't need. If you have a clearance, you really don't need a recruiter because you're always going to be neat because there's only a handful of clearances given out.
How many
really
clearances are there in the? How many clearances does the U.S. government give out? I just heard that number the other day.
Yes,
I can't remember what it was.
Nor am I 100% sure I believe it. Number of clearances given by...
No. You can't search for answers while you're on the show. Is Nin Tran there?
Right, that's what any good recruiter
does Nin
would
Tran
do.
want to come on while Dean's doing a search and correct whatever Dean said or scold him? The door's open,
Evidently, there's 4.3 million people that have... 4.3 million people that have or have had within the last 10 years some type of a security clearance. Now, that does not mean they're the type of security clearance that will help us. They could be nothing more than they've been checked out, and yes, they can come into this building, but that doesn't mean it's not a true security clearance as I would define it, meaning secret, top secret, and stuff like that. It could be lower clearances, which aren't that hard to get.
It's much smaller that are actually in existence.
Okay,
I
got 5 minutes.
I'm just going by what
this is Nan. I want to say something.
Go ahead.
I want to say thank you to Dean for his support. I'm glad that he was able to come on the Animal Sourcing
This is not the Academy Awards, okay? It's not the Academy Awards. You don't have to thank anybody. He said you were criticizing him, and I'm giving you a chance to go after him in public.
I never said he was criticizing me. He asked me a question.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Nin.
Hey, so I got a question for Dean. He had mentioned
while I'm young, Nin.
So, Dean, what can you improve on
I've known Nin a long time. I consider Nin a friend, and I like giving him crap.
We can improve on Herschel.
I've already told you guys that. We just had lunch a week ago.
What's the question?
There you go.
What's the question?
Hey,
The question was, what can we improve in Herschel?
Oh,
okay,
that's not for the show.
That's
weak. That's not for the show.
That's weak.
Not a question for the show.
Nin, let's take this offline after the show. That's not a call
Animal.
for the show. He's right.
Yeah. I had a different question for him, but I wanted to talk to him offline.
Okay.
Anyways.
So call me later when I'm on my way.
Feel free. Talk to him offline whenever you want.
Nin, at about 11, I will call you when I'm on my way driving down to Portland.
Welcome to Don't Tell Me About Yourself, the podcast where old school hiring meets a modern reality check. I'm Lorna Erickson. And I'm Victoria Gates, and we're the co-founders of Expert Interviewers. Between the two of us, we've got 40 years of hiring experience. We've studied interviewing techniques. We've trained thousands of people globally to stop making the same mistakes over and over again. And we've got 340,000 people following us online because apparently everyone has a story about a bad interview. You know the ones. The illegal questions, the 45-minute monologues, showing up late with no apology. So every week, we're tackling the biggest subjects in hiring. We bring real stories, real data, and real talk about how to make interviews actually work for everyone. Because great hiring isn't luck, it's a practice skill. So whether you hire, apply, or just love a good interview train wreck, the show is for you.
Oh, come on.
Sounds good. Talk to you later.
Someone else wants to ask a question of Dean before the show's over. There's 2 minutes or 4 minutes left. Go ahead.
Hey, Dean.
Yes.
Dean, this is Michael. I was wondering...
Michael
G. Cox. Michael G. Cox.
Thank you.
Yeah.
There are a few Michaels
you've got
here,
a webinar coming up. What's the topic again?
The one on Friday is just a general topic about recruiting tools, and stuff like that. So it's basically with recruiting tools. And what I'm going to do is basically I talk about a tool or two, and then I'm going to just take questions and help people solve problems. Last time we did it, somebody was needed to find people who had experience working on a farm, believe it or not, in Ohio. And so I told them how to find people that worked on farms. And
hold on, Maureen,
yeah.
he's saying now that he can find farm workers in Ohio online. Is that what you're saying, Dean?
Actually, no, I didn't say. Okay, so point of note, I didn't say online. The way I told him to do it is real simple. You go to the Land Bureau in Ohio, to the state. It will let you know if it's farmland. It's designated, so it'll let you know where all the farms are and pinpoint where all the farms are. There's usually a small town around it, and you go to the bar there. And that's where they will all be. And guess what? They ended up hiring 40 people. So obviously it was right. That's old school geo-based recruiting. Go where they're at.
Yeah.
Okay, Maureen, you couldn't call in to that either. I mean, you call in, the guys are out in the field, right? Or in the barn.
Well, he could call into the local hardware stores if there are local hardware stores, which there are fewer and fewer nowadays. But there are lots of things that you could expand
there are
on
other things you could have done, but going to the bar was more fun.
Yeah, I guess so. Michael G. Cox, do you have another question? Michael G. Cox, you finished?
Yeah, I'm curious with regard to that data miner, data-miner, IO, whatever.
Just data miner.
Yeah, have you used that specifically for LinkedIn, or have you found another one, perhaps an alternative that works better with LinkedIn?
Okay, so point of note, we need to always be careful when you're talking about Big Brother, LinkedIn, because they are always listening. LinkedIn is so paranoid that they troll Facebook and other places, and if you put a trick on there about LinkedIn and they don't like it, they will shut it down immediately. So we got to be careful. The answer to that question is yes to data miner, yes to other things, and if you actually come to SourceCon and sit in on my class and ask me that question, I can give you more details. Matter of fact, while I'm not going to say this is for LinkedIn, I'm going to basically tell you how to do it, but I'm not going to pick on LinkedIn because I don't want Big Brother to get mad at me and put me in LinkedIn jail.
Gotcha.
Okay. Michael, you asked a question before about how many people can be found online, and I wrote a number down before Dean answered. Mine was 60%.
Hey, so you and I said, what did I originally say?
You said 65, 70.
Yeah, but then he upped it.
So we're in the right ballpark.
We didn't really get an answer out of Dean, okay?
I gave you
he said 65, 70%.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I didn't hear everything.
People
are talking over each other.
And I think that surprised you, Michael, didn't it? You thought he was going to say higher?
Yeah.
I think it surprised him, but I think what he forgets, there are actually places in this world where there is no internet.
Yeah, but we're not there. We're in the developed country. We're in North America. Okay,
but that's not
what I was
the
kind of
question
referring to.
Dean, maybe we're talking about two different things. I think he was talking about people that we would want to find.
Right, and I think now listening to him, that's good, but it would. And in that case, obviously, the number's substantially higher.
You know what they call people like you two? Quibblers. You guys are quibblers. You should understand it.
Well, sourcers are quibblers because we're discerners, and we want to get it exactly right.
Dean DaCosta, thank you for coming on. Everybody, it's only $3 to buy the Kindle version of his book. I said it on my Facebook group. If you don't buy it, you're crazy. What's it called again, Dean?
It's called The Book of Recruiting DaCosta Style.
DaCosta Style. Okay, Maureen, Michael G. Cox, Kathy, Nin, and Dean DaCosta, thank you!